What do you do as a team leader or manager when your team hits a major bump in the road and gets off track? In this video, we're going to examine 5 common bumps in the road and how we can work with them to make sure that our team stays as productive as possible going through a hard time. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first and the probably most common one is firing or quitting. And firing and quitting is really important because this is a trust situation for your team. How you as a manager or a leader handle someone quitting sets a precedent for everyone else. And if you handle that poorly, then people will not trust you when they might get offers from other places or might need to quit or whatever. And that really affects your ability to handle the situation going forward. So you want people to have enough trust in you to come and say, hey, I don't think the work that we're doing is fun anymore, or I don't think that it's right for me anymore, whatever the reason is. Make sure they feel enough trust to come to you and talk about it. And how you handle people who actually quit or are fired, it sets that tone, building that trust. Now, if a firing is toxic, you can go from a high-performing team all the way back to conflict because it can disrupt trust so much. All of a sudden, they don't know if they can trust you as a leader. Can they trust the person in their team? Depending on how that toxicity has panned out, you might need to have individual discussions with team members. Just we're ironing out this toxic firing for weeks, and it can take a really, really long time to get a team back on track, or comparatively long time to get a team back on track. And a toxic firing might actually cause other people to quit as well. And then you lose valuable knowledge in your team that takes time to rebuild and build up. So what you as a leader need to do in a firing situation or a quitting situation is you need to be transparent. You need to be transparent with the individual who is being fired or quitting, and they also need to have a say in how the story is portrayed to the team and how they're talking about it. So having that conversation is really important, and building trust to be able to have that conversation helps you work with the rest of the team as the other person is quitting. So say, for example, if it's someone important who has a very important role in the group, if they're quitting, obviously the other team members will then feel, but who's going to take that role? What's going to happen with And for you to have clear definitions of how the role transitions are going to work is really, really important. What you need to do in this phase when someone is quitting is you need to reinforce psychological safety. People quitting can cause a lot of anxiety, especially if you're an introvert and you all of a sudden you've invested a lot into a person and you usually don't invest into people. That person might mean a lot to someone who's introvert, the person who's quitting. And the person who's staying might feel that if they're quitting, then maybe I shouldn't be here as well. So making sure that they feel safe in the team, even though people are leaving, because it's a natural part as well of career progression. You get promoted, or you find another job, or you're moving to another country or a town. It's all natural, and reminding people that this is a natural phase and the person is not hopefully dying, then you can still be friends outside of work, all of that. But it's a situation that you need to handle delicately because it sets precedence of what other people do when they come to a point where they want to change jobs, careers, or just have entertain the idea of working somewhere else. And you want to have that transparency and trust in the group so they can come to you and talk things through. and that allows you to keep good people and support people who might not be motivated to work in your group, because if people don't want to work with you anymore, it's better to let them go than to have them cause conflict or disruptions in the group. A similar thing to someone quitting is someone going for long-term parental leave or sick leave. And it's not as bad as quitting, because people expect them to come back, especially if you haven't trust and a good communication in the team in general. So if they come back to if it's a parental leave or extended absence for other reasons, just making sure that the team knows that there's a plan for the person being away for an extended period of time is really, really important. Show the team that you're taking action to make sure that there's a replacement or a different way of working, so that you can cover the period that the person is gone and work through that. Also make sure that if that person has knowledge in the team that other team members are dependent on, make sure there are workshops and time set in place where those responsibilities are transferred to other team members or to someone coming in, helping out and replacing that person for that extended period of time. So what you want to do here is you want to check in with the confidence of the team. How are people feeling about this person going on parental leave? Do they feel confident that they can cover for him? And if they don't feel confident, you can, of course, do motivational speech, or you can help set a structure that shows that it will actually work as they're gone. And obviously people will be anxious about people being away because there might be more workload, but having a clear strategy and discussion about that is really important to handle this. Another wise thing to do is make sure that there are no major strategic changes in the group at the same time as people are on extended leaves or parental leaves. Because if you have that, then you're messing up with the confidence of the team. The team is already one man short. They're not working the way they're used to, because that person usually picks up slack or has a responsibility to solve this and this, or usually helps out or brings happiness and joy or whatever. They're all important pieces of the team, right? But if you then also introduce a change or split up the team or make these different things, if you can avoid it, wait until the person is back from parental leave or extended leave. Because then the team will have more confidence taking on these strategic changes. So that's a recommendation for that. Major setbacks. Missed deadlines, technical debt, failed initiatives, goals not met, things that the team has been working hard to achieve and yet they did not achieve them. Especially if you have been so successful of setting clear goals and expectations and they've been working really, really hard to achieve them, failing to achieve them can actually be quite a big setback for the team. And it really affects their confidence. So this is a typical thing that can take you from a stage 4 performing team to a stage 3 norming team, where motivation goes down, they're unhappy, morale is low because, well, we as a team did not succeed. So this can be challenging, and like losing productivity in a team because of this is, well, you as a leader need to get them back on track. And of course, the old traditional motivational speech could always get everyone excited and happy and be super excited to come back to work the day after. But another way you can work with it is you can own the setback without blaming. Having constructive workshops or like discussions, reflections. What caused us to not succeed? What can we do better the next time? Making sure that we learn from that experience of not succeeding, and making sure that we can apply our learnings going forward. So that way you can sort of soften the blow of we didn't hit the target with, okay, cool, so how are we going to get to hit the target the next time? Another thing that you should do is you should break up recovery into like clear small steps. So if you can quickly do minor projects that gets you back on track, you get the ability to celebrate those minor step successes and as your team comes back. So each success then helps rebuild that confidence that was lost because you missed the deadline or you had the technical debt pushing you back. So what we're trying to do, of course, is to rebuild confidence and making small victories, coming back to the missed target or like reaching to the next point, to the next milestone is, well, better for the team. Maybe it's a bit fake to introduce smaller and easier to achieve goals for a period of time, but it will actually affect the confidence of the team of their deliveries. All right, the third speed bump we're going to talk about: external pressure, layoffs, things not going well, inter-company conflicts. These can all mess with the trust your team has in their position in the company. A big major political intercompany thing or external pressure can actually make your team feel so lost and lose so much identity and trust that they can go from a stage 4 performing team back to a forming team where they just want to be shown what to do. They don't know what's going on. They don't trust the company anymore, and therefore they don't trust you as a leader or manager. And it could also be that if there's firings or layoffs, you could push the team all the way back to stage 2 conflict because people are unsure if they are target of the layoffs or if they still have a job here or if they want to work in a job that lays off certain people or people they liked working with are now gone. So these are all external factors that can affect your team very negatively. And you as a leader, of course, want to lessen the impact of that. So it's really important here to be honest about the uncertainty. You can clearly state what you can and can't control, and you should focus on what you can control in the situation, making sure that you're fighting for the best outcome from the team. But being also honest about the uncertainty ahead is a way for you to be humble and build that trust that is essential of navigating the group through this hard external pressure time. So you should reinforce the team's purpose and really push on what we're trying to achieve as a team, why we're doing this. This can help people work with, even though the uncertainty is really hard from all these external pressures or layoffs. And you need to regularly check in with your team and your team members to make sure that how they're feeling, know where they're at, so that you can apply the correct help, support, or conversations wherever it's needed. All right, the last speed bump that we're going to talk about in this video is member conflicts and anxiety. So you might have two strong personalities on your team who constantly clash. That will cost a lot of emotional energy, and then a lot of energy is spent on working with those conflicts. Or you might have someone being demotivated or maybe even burnt out on your team, or they have personal issues at home that causes them to have a lot of anxiety. And if you've seen my video on the amygdala and stress and having anxiety will turn off your prefrontal lobes, and your amygdala will make sure that the thing you're worried about or scared about is everything you're thinking about. So you're not going to have that person perform the way they usually do. And being able to talk to you as a team leader or manager about that might actually be a way to alleviate a little bit of the anxiety, but it also helps you work with the expectations you can have on that person in your team, making sure that you come out with a highly productive team member once this situation blows over. So what you want to do with these speed bumps is, of course, if it's conflict, you want to address it as early as possible. Make sure that it doesn't fester, make sure it doesn't linger, because something that could have been a trivial like conflict over tabs versus spaces or curly braces at the end of the line or whatever people can argue about can instead turn into a dislike of a person. I really hate that guy, and you don't even remember why, and it turns out that if you dig long enough, it's because he likes tabs as indentation instead of spaces, and that's a really bad argument for hating someone. But if you just have all these negative thoughts going over and over about a person, you sort of just forget about why you're having those negative thoughts, and you just remember that you don't like that person. So you need to address conflict early, and you need to talk it through. Now, you should work, of course, with the different parties. Say we're two strong personalities in a team who are in conflict. You should individually speak to them, how they're communicating with each other, and then as a group, or like the three of you and them can go into some sort of mediation workshop if you need to do that. But I highly recommend to bring conflicts up early and talk about them early. And if you as a leader are of a avoidant personality where you don't like conflicts and you like rather die than handle conflicts, you should know this about yourself. You could ask your boss for help or ask some other people for help or feedback. But it's really important, even though it's really hard and difficult, you need to push through. And this is sort of part of the job of being a team leader and manager. You need to have those conflicts or the conflict resolution discussions, even though there's a clear winner between tabs and spaces. All right, another thing that you should do, and this is more on the burnout and like the motivated person, is like you should check in with your team regularly. Hopefully by now you've noticed that checking in with your team regularly, individually and in groups, is what you need to do to make sure that you know what's going on in the group dynamics in the team. You need to have those conversations. You need to make space for each individual in the team to check in and see how things are going. This is a secret weapon that you can bring with you to all teams, regardless if there's speed bumps, if you just want to create a highly efficient team, regardless of what stage your team is in, regardless of what industry or what you're doing. Checking in with your teammates is essential for good leadership. All right, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. My name is Martin Nilsson. I'm a serial startup CTO. I work with startups. I build software products from scratch, and I set up software development teams from scratch. And now I'm making YouTube videos so that you can do the same. I have over 20 years of experience of building software products, and I'm here to share it with you. So please like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.